Hello, it's CraftyRia. Welcome to another video. Today I've got something spooky for you. We have a patchwork boo. Ooh. Ooh, this cute little ghost. These are die cuts from Spellbinders. This is the set of dies. It's called Patchwork Boo, brand new release. And it comes with all of the dies you see here. We have the front, the back, the eyeballs, a heart patch, and other patchwork pieces there. So this is really, really cute. And as you can see on the front, it has these little spots to help us attach the patchwork pieces. If you want to do the ghost without any patchwork pieces, use the back, cut 2 pieces of the back, and go with that. So I'll set that aside. I cut them all out of felt, and the felt has some wool in it. So it's a wool blend felt. You can use all wool felt or a wool blend. I don't recommend using acrylic because acrylic does not cut so crisply with the die cut machine. So I cut out the front, I cut out the back, and I cut out the patchwork pieces. I went with purple for the patchwork pieces because I had a bunch of scraps to use. And I like purple. And purple's a great Halloween color. And then I also made these 2 tiny eyeballs. Then I also have some black embroidery floss, white embroidery floss, and some baker's twine. I'm going to make Christmas tree ornaments. We keep our tree up all year, so I'm going to make a hanger out of this. You can do anything with these. You can keep it flat, put it on a card, or you can stuff them with some fiberfill, which is what I'm going to do. You can make ornaments. You can put them on a wreath. You can make a garland. Whatever your heart desires, you can do. Just use your imagination. And if you do make something with them, I would love for you to show me over in my Facebook group, Create with CraftyRia. So I have my needle already threaded with some black embroidery floss. And this is just a regular embroidery needle. I have a whole kit. This is a sewing needles kit. I got this on Amazon. It comes in this really cool little black tin. It has a thimble. It has a couple of needle threaders and a big assortment, all sorts of sizes of needles, and a little magnet to hold your spares. This is a great little kit. I will link it in the description box below. So I'm not going to knot the end, but I will go up through these 2 sets of holes here are for the eyeballs. And I'm going to go up through one of those holes and take the eyeball. The eyeball has 2 holes. And go through one of the eyeball holes. And I'm just going to leave a bit of a tail at the end. I'm going to make this easy since the inside is going to be hidden. And then I'm going to go in the other eye hole and go to the back. Now you can do that a couple times if you want to secure it better, but you can just leave it at that. Now I'm also going to stitch the mouth here, but meanwhile I'm going to go do the other eyeball. Go in one of the eyeball holes I'm going to stick the eyeball on here. It's hard to see where the holes are in the black. Because my desk is black behind me. And then I'm going to go through the eyeball hole there. There we go. And defuzz the eyeball. So I still have my extra piece hanging out there. And now I'm going to stitch up the mouth. I'm going to start in the center hole and just stitch to the left turn hole, go back in the center hole, and then stitch over to the right hole, or the right turn hole as we would say in these parts. So then we have the little mouth. Now you can do, like I said, do this in any color you wish. And then I have that piece there, and I wanted to end in the hole that was close to the hole I started with. I'm going to unthread my needle, and then I'm just going to tie this in a knot. Be careful not to tie it too tightly because you don't want to pucker the felt. There. And then I'm going to trim this off. There we go. So there is that. I'm going to be stuffing mine, so it really doesn't matter what the back looks like. And then I also do want to say that, as you notice here, not all of these holes poked completely through. They are completely through, but I didn't go ahead and like poke them all out. You can take a pokey tool or the back of your needle and poke all of those holes if you wish. As long as you can see them, then you're good to go. Now I'm going to switch to white embroidery floss, and I am going to stitch all of these things. And the embroidery floss is 6-ply, so I'm breaking that in half, so I'm doing 3-ply to stitch with. And then I'm going to thread my needle. If you don't have a needle threader, pull it tightly over your needle. Just wrap it across the top, pull it tightly, and then pinch it, if you have a thumbnail, with your thumb against the back of your first finger. And then put that folded piece through the eye of the needle and pull it through, and then you have an easily threaded needle. Now, the first thing that we have to stitch on is the heart onto this. I am going to make a knot on the back. Give a little trim. Then I'm also going to stitch that on there as well. It's going to be kind of a double layer. So I'm going to find one of the heart holes here. We'll start in the middle. And all of the holes will line up. All right. And then I am going to go kind of like a running stitch and not a back stitch. I'm going to go up and down, and then you will see what I mean. I'll come back and fill in the other pieces. I need to shorten my thread here. So it's just up and down and up and down. You want to make sure your holes are lined up. So then I will come up the next hole. Once you get a few stitches in, the holes will line up a little more easily. Okay, and as you can see, I'm going all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way around, and when I get back to the beginning, we'll move on to the next part. Okay, now we've come up to the last stitch on the first part. And then you're just going to keep going around again, and you're going to fill in the other halves. You can do a back stitch if you like. I like it like this. I think the stitches look nice and clean this way. Okay, and then that brings us back to the beginning. And this will go on him like this. And I think I'm going to put that one behind it. And there aren't any holes on him here, so you could put them anywhere you wish. Kind of like that. I think that's going to be cute. So I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to just bring it up through one of these holes like that, just to kind of attach these two together. And then I'm going to come up through this point here where the two holes meet. And that's where I'm going to start stitching around the perimeter like that. I'm going to do the same type of stitching. And there are no holes on the back to guide me, so I'm just going to go by the front. All right, and I'm going to fast forward through this and finish stitching. I'm going to stitch all the way around the dark purple and then all the way around the light purple. Now, when I said all the way around the dark purple, I kind of lied. The part that's buried underneath, I'm not going to stitch all the way around it. It will be held in place. I'm just going to go here and then pick up the light purple and continue around. There's my next hole in the light purple. And then I will continue around there. When I get to this piece of the heart that is overlapping, I am just moving that out of the way and stitching behind it. Now I got back to the first stitch that I made. And I'm actually going to continue down this part here. Okay, so then I made it down to that piece there. I'm going to come up through this one hole here. And then continue around and fill in my gaps just like I did with the original heart. Fill in all of those blank pieces. I will catch you at the end. I'm going to go down here and then I'll go back up around the dark purple. It doesn't really matter the path you take as long as you end up at the end. Okay, I finished the light purple and then I'm going to go back and stitch around on that dark purple and fill in all the little spots that I missed. Okay, I got to the end. I made my stitches all the way around. Now you can either end your thread by tying it off in the back, or you can use it and attach your other pieces. I'm just going to poke out these holes on this little one so they are easier to see. They're easy to see in person, just not on camera. And when you do this, you will totally understand what I'm talking about. The felt likes to, the fibers like to stay attached. So this little piece goes there. I'm trying to figure out where all the pieces go. This piece goes here. And this piece goes this way here. Okay. So those are your other 3 pieces of patchwork. I'm going to move those 2 off, and I'm going to go ahead and do this one next since my thread is very close to this. I am not going to stitch the outer edge. We will catch that when we stitch the front and the back together, but I will stitch these other pieces here. I will stitch that in that direction to catch that one. Then go back in that first hole. And then just go around this one the same way. And again, you have your holes on the front and the back to keep you lined up. And I'll stitch to the outside piece there and then head back. I'm just not doing that direction around the outside. Okay, so we have that. And again, if you don't have a lot of thread left over, go ahead and tie it off on the back and start with a new piece of thread. I'm going to go down to this bottom piece. Kind of line it up. If you have little clips, you can clip it together. If you can make it so you can see through all of your holes, that would be great. And I'm just going to pull it down through, but you don't want it too tight. Because you don't want your felt to buckle. And then I'm just going to the edge, and then I'm going to go back the other direction. Because again, I'm not going to go around the edge. We will catch that part when we sew them together. That's why I'm using white thread on this, so it matches when I sew it all together. And you probably can't see it on camera, but I can see through both sets of holes now. Then when I get to the edge, I go back around. Okay, so we have that piece sewed on. Now I just need to do the one on his head. I think I have enough thread to keep it together. And this one here, you'll want to pay attention to the curved piece. The curved piece is going to go along the outside where it is curved. And then you're just going to line up those bottom 4. And I'm going to come in here and grab this bottom corner one. And again, you don't want it to be too tight. I'm going to go to this outside one. And then these bottom 4 stitches. And then back and filling in your gaps. Okay. So there you have all of your patchworks on. It's really cute. Then you're going to take this, and I'm going to just make a little tiny stitch in this white, kind of behind that purple. So it's hidden. I'm going to wrap it around a little bit and tie it in a knot. There we go. And I'm just going to wrap this up underneath these other pieces and then cut it off. There. All right, so we have half of the ghost done. That's the hard part. Now it's smooth sailing. So then you're going to match up these little guys. And you want to leave a space open to stuff it. I think I'm going to leave this part here open because then I can reach all of the areas, and then it's not on any kind of a fragile part where it can rip or break. And if you want to poke out some of your holes so you can see better, feel free to do so. And if you can't see the holes or you miss them, just try to guess your stitches as best as you can. Get my needle and another piece of thread. Okay, I have my piece here. I am going to tie a knot in the end just so I don't inadvertently pull it through. I made 2 knots next to each other, so I'm going to tie one more and hopefully make one big knot. And I'm going to leave that long of a tail. All right, I'm going to start in between here and bury the end of my thread. I'm just going to go up through any one of the holes. And then I'm going to take my thread and just stick it down inside. And then I'm going to go pick any direction, whichever way you feel like going, and do the same thing you did. You're going to go every other hole, down and up and down and up. And you're going to go around a second time and fill in your gaps. And then when you get to your patchwork, you're just going to just keep stitching right over that patchwork. You're going to go through 3 thicknesses. All right, and I will see you when I get around to the end. I will say when you're going around the edge, be careful the way you are pulling your thread. Try to pull it towards the felt and not towards the outside because you can easily rip the holes open. I'm coming up to my next piece of patchwork, and we're going to do the same thing we did with the other. Let's just go through all 3 layers. Don't tangle his poor little arms there. And then we'll continue on around his head. Now I'm getting back to where I started. I do want to leave a piece open. I'm going to come down a few pieces here. Before I turn back around and go the other way. I think I'll do one more stitch here. And I'm going to end this. I don't know. Let me see. I think I can make it all the way around. I think I can make it all the way back around. Let's try. I'm going to be adventurous. I'm going to go through this. And then I'm going to head back and stitch all the way back around, leaving this opening for stuffing. So turn back around and fill in all of the gaps. It's a little bit easier because you can see where your holes are. Much easier second time around, since you've already poked through them once. My ghost is shedding all those little pieces that I'm poking out. So right there, I ended up pulling it through the hole. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go just on the inside of that stitch. And you're not even going to notice that that happened. Well, you will because you watched me do it. But anyone who's looking at this later, they're not going to notice that. Will I have enough thread to make it all the way around? If you think I will, or if you think I won't, leave a comment right now in the video. Let me know what you think, and then we'll see if you're right. I think I will make it all the way around. We'll find out. Okay, I'm going to go right up to that last stitch. I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to get my fiber fill and I'm going to stuff him, and then I will sew up the hole. I should have enough to do that. Okay, I have my bag of polyfill. This brand I highly recommend. I have used it for many, many years. I just cut a small opening in it, and I'm just going to take some out. He doesn't need much. You can also cut apart a pillow if you wish. I have this little wooden stick, craft stick, and I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to put the polyfill in the hard to reach places like his tail. And by the way, I did take my needle off so I don't poke myself or anything. I don't know where my needle went. It's around here somewhere. And it doesn't have to be stuffed very tightly, just enough to give it a little bit of dimension. One thing about polyfill is it is even all the way through. It's not lumpy. Stuff it up around his head. If you can reach your finger in and use your finger, that works the best. And then I'm going to put a little piece, try to get it in each of his hands, or as close to his hands as I can. And just be careful here that you are not ripping apart the pieces that you have already stitched. Now, I took way too much polyfill. Okay. Then kind of hold it together and see. I think that is pretty good. I really wasn't able to get it in his arms very well, but that's okay. He doesn't need stuffed hands. His tail is pretty good. So you really do not need much at all. Let me get my needle. Here is the needle I was using. I'm going to use a little smaller one since I don't have a whole lot of thread left. And the smaller needles have a smaller eye, so sometimes they're a little harder to thread. Crichton, my African Gray, says hello, by the way. So then I'm just going to come up through really any one of those holes there, even if I've already stitched it. And get one stitch in to hold it closed. And then I'm just going to do the same thing as I did around the other parts. I'm going to go through every other hole with that running stitch. And in this part, you want to be careful really not to rip through any of the holes. And when I get to this end here, I'm going to go up 1 or 2 more stitches over what I have done before, just for some extra stability. And then I'm going to go back down. I'm trying to pinch it together here so both ends lay flat like it did my first time around. Crichton singing to you. I hope you enjoy. And then I'm going to take an extra couple of stitches this way. Check the back. I'm going to go up 1 and back down 1. An extra stitch there. Okay. Then when I'm at the end here, I'm going to stitch into the next hole, but not all the way through. I'm going to stitch into the stuffing and run it out the other end. So I'm not tying a knot in here. I am running it in through his body. I'm going to run it up to another stitch I made up here. And then I'm going to even go down into that stitch again for good measure. And I'm going to run it up through his body again and come out in a white spot. So we have a long piece in there, and then I'm going to cut it off, but I'm going to kind of pull it up tight so that way when I cut it off, the end gets drawn back inside. So there is, it's kind of like a little snake in there. So there we go. There is the little ghost patchwork boo. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put this. What you would normally do, not what I did. If you want to have a hanger, you would take whatever you want to hang it with, tie it in a knot, and put it inside as you're stitching, and then stitch around it. But I did not do that. I can take a piece of white I'm going to take a piece of white and all 6 pieces here. I am going to thread through my needle. There we go. I'm going to take this, I'm going to run it up through the back, through one of my stitching holes here. Let's see, where's a good center point to his head? That is fine. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take it down through the front. Actually, that's a little over too far. Let me move it over. Take it through the back, through the next stitching hole like that. There we go. And decide kind of where we want the knot. Tie it off into a little bit of a knot. Like that. Trim it off. And pull it through. You just have this little tiny knot in the back. It'll be fine. And then you have your hanger. It's kind of big. If you want to make your hanger smaller, pull the knot through. Make it a little closer. There. And you have your hanger right there. But don't do that. Do it the way I would have done it. Tied it, stuck it inside, and then stitched around it. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. This is Patchwork Boo. It is one of the new sets from Spellbinders. I will put all the links in the description box below, and I will link to all of the products that I used today. I have several other sets, 3 other sets. I will be bringing other videos to you to show you all of the sets in this collection. Please leave me a comment below. Let me know what colors you would use on him. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. And I do invite you to join my crafting community on Facebook. It's called Create with CraftyRia. If you make one of these, I would love to see how yours turned out and also what you did with it. If you put it on a card, made a garland, whatever, that would be great. If you have FOMO, fear of missing out, and you would like early access to my videos such as this one, please consider becoming a channel member. You get to see all of my videos before anyone else. And then, of course, if you enjoy this video, please click the like button, the thumbs up button. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. It's free and you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And then also when I go live on Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, you'll get a notification for that as well. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you. And until the next video, you know what to do. Go get crafting. Bye-bye.